Okay, guys, welcome back to a new video here. So today we're going to be talking about Piers Morgan absolutely going off on Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government over the recent Israeli strikes in Qatar. We're going to talk about it. I mean, absolutely wild. There's been a lot going on this week in the news. Of course, the Charlie Kirk shooting, which was absolutely horrific in Utah, absolutely devastating. We, of course, have the Russian drone attack on Poland, where, I mean, out of nowhere, we see the Russian incursion inside of Poland. The Russians denied it was basically on purpose. But since then, we've seen NATO increase their defensive posture, and we seem like we're escalating on that front, not in a good direction whatsoever. And then, of course, we have the Israelis bombing Qatar out of nowhere. Like, what are we talking about here? The Israelis bombing Qatar, targeting a group of Hamas leaders in Doha. And not only was it completely wild, I mean, you're bombing a country that is serving as an intermediary between Hamas and Israel, as well as a major U.S. ally. And not to mention the attack completely failed. And this is even according to the Israelis. None of the Hamas leaders were killed. In fact, a Qatar security personnel person was killed. So that's where we're at right now with that. And we're going to talk about everything. Did Trump know about it? Did he not know about it? And basically, we're going to show you the reaction here of Piers Morgan and Ian Bremmer reacting to the Israeli strike, like almost like they're in shock. Like, what are we doing here? The Israelis are completely out of control. I mean, bombing Qatar really is wild. And it is pretty crazy, guys. In the last 2 months, you've had Qatar bombed by both Iran and the Israelis, which is pretty wild. It is pretty wild stuff. And we're going to talk about the ramifications. What does this mean for the Abraham Accords, and as well as like normalization of relations between Israel and other Arab countries? That's not looking too good after the strike, let me tell you right now. And will the Qataris respond in some way to this? I mean, there was a major summit of Arab leaders in Qatar this past weekend, and hey, it does not look good for the Israelis in terms of normalization of relations, okay? So here's a clip, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm, and it helps with the channel immensely. And if you want to become a member, hit the join button below. We're super close to 1,000 subscribers, so let's try and get there. So here's a clip, and we'll talk about it in just a minute.
Wars. Let's start with...
First of all, good to see you in person.
Well, good to see you.
Nice to be actually here in the UK.
Absolutely. Whenever you're here, please come in. Let's start with Israel. When I heard that they had deliberately struck in Doha at a meeting, apparently, of the Hamas negotiating team, who were meeting to discuss the latest proposal from Donald Trump.
Which is the role that Qatar has been serving for quite some time.
And quite laudably. Whatever's gone on in the past, they've had a lot of credit for being the sort of brokers here, the honest brokers, if you like. What was your reaction when you first heard that they'd done this, Israel?
My first reaction was thinking that, wow, Qatar's been struck now by both Israel and by Iran within like a few months. Who can say that, right? It's quite something. Second was reminding myself that President Trump had just a couple of days before warned Hamas, ceasefire, take my terms that Israel says they've taken, or else you're not getting a second chance. And okay, he does all caps all the time, and he can be a bit histrionic when he posts, but it wasn't as if he's in any way concerned about Hamas getting hit. Hamas getting hit in Qatar, which is a principal non-NATO ally of the United States, biggest U.S. base in the region, even a member of the Qatari Secret Services getting killed. That's a big deal. And that is embarrassing to Trump. And I would be surprised if Trump actually knew about these strikes before.
I would. I mean, I would
be surprised.
I was at the state dinner in Doha a few months ago for Donald Trump. The Emir of Qatar held this state dinner, big event, huge number of influential people from around the world flew in, many of the top business people in America and so on. And the warmth and relationship between the Emir and President Trump was palpable. They go back a long way, they have great respect for each other. And I think there's genuine anger, visceral anger from the Emir, I think, and the Qataris. Of
course, as they would be.
For understandable reasons. But also, I think, anger from Trump / frustration that all the diplomacy may have just gone up in smoke and that the goal of the attack seems to have failed. In other words, the Hamas side is saying none of their leaders were killed.
I don't think he's that frustrated about the ceasefire going up in smoke because he's been increasingly angry that despite all the efforts by Witkoff and by others, that they just haven't been able to get to yes. And he certainly blames Hamas for that much more than he blames the Israelis. No question there. But is he angry that the Israelis hit Qatar and that he finds out about it to apologize and not ask permission? Yeah, I think that irritated him, but I think that Netanyahu feels like he can get away with it. And especially because we have seen the Israelis be able to strike with impunity against all sorts of Iranian proxies across the region.
Hezbollah, the Houthis, Iran itself.
The Yemeni civilian government, right? I mean, of course, Assad himself has just fallen, and Iran directly. And Trump, of course, it was after the Israelis struck Iran that he said, well, that went pretty well. They didn't do anything in response. I want to be a part of that. So I do think that Trump has found Israel useful as a hammer in the region where the United States doesn't have to actually take the direct blowback. I think that there is some of that as well.
I want to play a clip. This is from Yalda Hakim at Sky News interviewing Naftali Bennett, the former Israeli Prime Minister, last night.
Okay, so there's a lot there. So let's just get right into it. So first of all, Piers says, of course, they were shocked at the attack in Qatar. And again, whatever you think of the Qatari government, guys, and there's no question there's a lot to be ridiculed there. But again, they were serving as an intermediary between the Israelis and Hamas, apparently, again, supported by the United States, a major ally of the United States that is non-NATO, okay, and the Israelis are openly bombing this, and again, to discuss peace and a ceasefire proposal. So again, the Israelis bombing this delegation, guys, I mean, obviously that should give you a pretty good idea where they stand on the ceasefire proposal, okay? It seems like they're not a big fan of getting peace done, okay? Just listen to what their government minister is saying, like Smotrich, basically saying, no, we're going to be here for several months. They just started the ground invasion of Gaza City tonight. That should tell you guys that, oh, wait, this is going to be a long campaign. We're not going to be signing a ceasefire anytime soon, okay? And again, this has resulted, I want to be very clear, guys, this has resulted in, unlike the Iran strikes, where you actually saw many Western leaders actually support it. This is completely different. There has been literally no major government that I've seen that has actually openly said, yeah, this is a great thing that the Israelis are striking Qatar. Not one whatsoever besides Israel. And again, it's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about it in a second. Did Trump know about this? How open was he to these strikes? Because again, they openly said that Trump, I don't know. I'd be surprised if Trump knew about this. And to be fair, this is before reporting came out that he actually did know about this, which is pretty wild. And again, because Ian Bremmer does bring up an interesting point that he warned Hamas, Trump warned Hamas a couple of days prior saying, you better release the hostages right now or it's not going to be good for you. And look what happens now. Interesting timing. And again, was he mad? They thought, again, there's reason to believe that Trump actually could be displeased with an Israeli strike on Qatar because, guys, let's be honest, the Qataris gave Trump a big jumbo jet. They basically are, no question, kind of sucking up to Trump in a way where Trump would maybe actually be mad about a strike on Qatar. And again, as I said, they are an ally of the United States. And which is why it's interesting that reporting actually just came out, guys, today from Axios that, oh no, wait a second, he actually did know about it. He was told an hour in advance by Netanyahu. This was, again, denied by the White House after the fact. And the Israelis saying, oh no, the White House, they're telling the truth, like they didn't know. But again, what I think happened, guys, I think he did know about it, clearly, because again, remember the Iran reporting. The reporting was that Trump was mad at the Israelis and Netanyahu, basically because, the Israelis they wanted to strike Iran, and Trump was mad about that. This was the reporting before the attacks in Iran. But again, this was all BS, as we know now. It was basically a facade and a cover for the Israelis to go in and bomb Iran. That is 100%. That is the truth. Look at this reporting. It is all there. Okay, so, and I think Trump is denying it now because he wants to save face with the Qataris, saying he didn't know about it. But in actuality, let's be honest, he probably did know about it. And the reporting as of today indicates as such. And again, as they said, he was very close with the Emir. Trump is very close with the Emir of Qatar, and he probably doesn't want to piss him off. Again, remember the Iran attack. That's what I would say. I think there is almost a 0% chance that the Americans had zero idea that they were going to bomb Qatar. I just don't buy that for a second, okay? And they say, why does he do this? Well, because Bibi can get away with it. Of course he can get away with it. He's acted with impunity, bombing. He's literally bombed so many foreign countries in the last couple months. I mean, it's been insane. Lebanon, Yemen, Iran, now Qatar. I'm sure I'm missing other people. The Gaza Strip, obviously. I mean, it really is quite wild stuff when you think about it. And again, the clip they're going to show at the end here, where basically it was going to be Naftali Bennett. I don't want to post it because I don't want to get copyright strike, guys. But basically, you have the Naftali Bennett, the former prime minister, and also very big in Israeli politics as of now. Some people think the next Israeli prime minister. He basically was comparing the strike on the Hamas operatives in Doha to the American strike on Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Okay, so that is just insane. And again, he's trying to convey this to an audience who maybe doesn't know, like, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Well, it doesn't make any sense, actually. Number one, Qatar was serving as an intermediary. We knew they were going to be there. The Americans had no idea that bin Laden was going to be in Pakistan. That was the entire purpose. So that's why it was a secret operation. We had no idea they were going to be there. And there was no negotiation taking place. So it's not even close to the same thing whatsoever, and it's dishonest. And of course, they know this. They know it's dishonest, which is why the comparison is absurd. And afterward, Bremmer and Piers basically were like, yeah, this is obviously absurd, not even close to the same thing. And the response to this, guys, by the Qataris and the rest of the Arab states is basically calling Israeli a terrorist state, saying this is completely unacceptable. And I think it's pretty obvious, guys, there's not going to be any Abraham Accords signed anytime soon. In fact, the Emiratis, who are in the Abraham Accords, the UAE has basically been open to leaving the Abraham Accords due to this. And the Israelis are openly talking about annexation of parts of the Gaza Strip. If that happens, guys, that basically ends any sort of conversation about further sort of relations being made with the Arab countries, okay? It's the entire thing is insane. And the Americans are basically seem open to Israeli annexation of parts of the West Bank. So again, it is a wild place right now. I think we're going to see this escalate. I just don't think there's any question about it. The Israelis are acting with impunity. I think the next step, guys, let's be honest, again, the reports are already coming out of Israel. They're going to start bombing Iran again. I think that's going to be coming up in the next couple of months. I really do. So pretty wild stuff, guys. Wild times right now. Again, I hope you're enjoying the content. Again, if you agree with me, disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Again, make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm and it helps out the channel immensely. And if you want to become a member, hit the join button below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Have a great night, and I'll see you later.